Slavery in the United States was abolished by the 13th Amendment on December 18, 1865. How many slaves were there on December 19? In reality, there should have been none. But many still lived like slaves because they never learned the truth. Others knew they had even believed that they were free, but they chose to live like they always had. Well, suppose several plantation owners were devastated by the Emancipation Proclamation. We're ruined. Slavery has been abolished. We've lost the battle to keep our slaves. But their chief spokesman slyly responded, not necessarily. As long as these people think they're still slaves, the Emancipation Proclamation has no effect. We don't have a legal right over them anymore, but many of them don't know it. Keep your slaves from learning the truth, and your control over them won't even need to be challenged. One farmer asked, but what if the news spreads? Don't panic. We got another plan. We may not be able to keep them from hearing the news, but we can keep them from understanding it. We'll tell them that they misinterpreted it. So, just tell them that they misunderstood the 13th Amendment. Tell them that they are going to be free, not that they're already free. The truth they heard is just positional truth, not actual truth. Someday they may receive the benefits, but not now. Well, but they might expect us to say that. They won't believe us. Well, then pick out a few persuasive ones who are convinced that they're still slaves and let them do the talking for you. Remember, most of these people were born as slaves and they have been slaves all their lives. All we have to do is deceive them so that they think like slaves. As long as they continue to do what slaves do, it won't be hard to convince them. They must still be slaves. They will maintain their slave identity because of the things they do. The moment they try to profess that they are no longer slaves, just whisper in their ear, how can you even think that you're no longer a slave? You're still doing the things slaves do. After all, we have the capacity to accuse them all the time based on their experience. Years later, many had still not heard the wonderful news that they'd been free, so naturally they continued to live the way they'd always lived. Some heard the good news and told themselves, well, I'm still living like a slave, doing the same things I've always done. My experience tells me I must not be free. Everything's the same as before the proclamation, so it must not be true. I must still be a slave. So they continued as if they had not received freedom. Then one day, a former slave heard the good news and received it with joy. He checked out the validity of the proclamation and discovered that the highest of all authorities had originated the decree. Not only that, but it personally cost the authority a tremendous price so that slaves could be free. The slave's life was transformed. He reasoned that it would be hypocritical to continue living as a slave, even though his feelings told him he still was. Determined to live by what he knew to be true, his experiences began to change dramatically. He realized his old master had no authority over him, and it did not need to be obeyed. So he gladly served the one who set him free. And that's you and Christ in you.